They told you a lie. They handed you a dream stitched together by fear. Go to school, get a job, work hard, save every penny, stay out of debt, play it safe. They said that's the way to live, but it's not living. It's surviving. Let me ask you, how do you save money in a world where they're printing it by the trillions? How do you build wealth when the rules are rigged for someone else to win? They've designed a system where the harder you work, the tighter the trap becomes. And they call it freedom. No, this isn't about working harder. It's about seeing deeper, about stepping back from the noise and asking yourself, who am I really working for? Because here's the truth. Inside every person, there are three identities fighting for control. The poor soul who's afraid, the middle-class dreamer who wants security, and the rich thinker who knows how to create freedom. The system I grew up in only nurtures the first two. It tells you to get a job, wait for payday, hope for a raise, retire someday if you're lucky. But no one ever taught you how to be free, because freedom doesn't serve the system. I learned that lesson the hard way. I had two fathers, one who played by the rules and stayed stuck in the game, the other who broke them and rewrote his own. My rich dad never gave me a paycheck, not a single one. He said, every time you depend on that check, you give away your power. I didn't understand it at first. I was young, but I never forgot it because a paycheck is comfort, and comfort is the enemy of growth. So I walked away from security, from certainty, from the illusion of safety. I took my last paycheck, held it in my hands, and said goodbye. And then came the storm. No income, no guarantees, just faith and fire. But something happened in the fire. I got sharper. I got braver. I discovered who I really was when everything else was stripped away. That's the moment you truly begin. Not when you have a plan, but when you have nothing and keep going anyway. You see, the world doesn't reward comfort. It rewards courage. And the greatest wealth isn't money, it's character. So ask yourself, when it all goes wrong, who will you become? Will you crumble or will you rise? Will you play victim or will you play bold? Most people are still using advice written for a world that no longer exists. They're following maps made for a land that's already gone. The economy has changed. Money isn't gold anymore. It's debt. Jobs aren't forever. Security is an illusion. You can either cling to the old or rise into the new. When I came back from Vietnam in 1973, my rich dad didn't say, get a job. He said, learn to invest, learn to use debt, learn the language of the rich. Debt and taxes, those are the tools the wealthy use to multiply their wealth, not avoid them, use them. When I earn $1 million, I keep it. Why? Because I know how the game works, because I own assets, because I don't trade my time for money. I trade ideas, strategy, and leverage. Meanwhile, others work themselves to exhaustion, only to hand half of it back in taxes. A doctor friend of mine bragged, I made $1 million this year. I asked, how much did you keep? He said, about 250,000. And I smiled, because when I make $1 million, I keep $1 million. It's not just about money. It's about thinking differently. It's about playing a different game. The rich think in terms of value. The poor think in terms of price. The middle class chases comfort. The wealthy chase freedom. And freedom requires responsibility. The moment you realize no one's coming to save you is the moment you begin to save yourself. There's no such thing as a bad economy. There's only your internal economy, your mindset. When you build that strong, it doesn't matter who's in office, what the market's doing, or what the headlines scream. Your mind becomes your shelter. Your skills become your currency, and your purpose becomes your compass. Look, mistakes will come. You will fall. You will fail, but failure doesn't break you. It reveals you. It uncovers the strength that comfort keeps hidden. The average person falls and gives up. The entrepreneur falls and grows. Wings, they ask, what if I fail? I ask, what if you never try? What if you live your whole life in a cage and only realize it when the door finally shuts? The world doesn't need more employees. It needs visionaries. It needs rebels. It needs you. Because when you control your inner world, no outer world can ever destroy you. You become unshakable, unstoppable, unforgettable. This isn't about money. It's about power. The power to choose, to build, to rise, to walk away from the life they told you to want and claim the life you were born for. So tear up the old script, write your own story, and make it legendary.